Dr. Brock, would you like to welcome everyone?
Yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Looks like we got about 55 people and growing with us. So welcome everyone this evening. We've got a program prepared for you to talk a little bit about Canvas, which I will not be leading this presentation. Others will do so. So Erica Chandler, our Director of Communications, will help moderate. We also have with us Chris McGee, our Executive Director of Academic and Student Services. Adam Jasinski is our Technology Director. He's with us. Lauren Widmer is our Director of Academic Options. And then Manuel Herrera is our Coordinator of Academic Services. So they'll walk you through things that they think would be helpful for you to know about Canvas. And then, like I said, Erica will kind of help moderate the chat feature and at appropriate times feed them questions. But other than that, they've prepared some information for you. Looks like we're up to about 61 people. So with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to whoever wants to start out.
I'll go ahead and jump in, and we're going to start out with a video provided by Canvas. It also gives people an opportunity to calibrate their audio and make sure everything was working. So I'm going to mute myself and allow the video to play, and we'll get going.
Meet Amy Peterson. Amy has two kids, Tucker and Jane. Tucker is in the 8th grade and loves world history. Jane is in the 3rd grade and enjoys science projects. Their school uses Canvas to facilitate student learning. Amy wants to be involved in her kids' education, not to do it for them, but to help them be successful and build confidence as learners. Amy wants to check their grades, view assignment due dates and the instructions, follow Amy and Tucker's calendars, and communicate easily with teachers. Amy hears about the Canvas parent app in an email from the school. Both kids' teachers use Canvas and want to make sure parents can easily stay connected. Amy searches for Canvas Parent in the App Store for her mobile device. After it downloads, Amy searches for her school district in the search bar. When she finds it, she then sees the option to sign in. Amy does not have her own Canvas account yet, so she selects Parents of a Canvas User, Create Account. She enters her name, her email address, and creates a password, but does not have a student pairing code. Tucker creates a pairing code from his account by opening his account settings from the global navigation bar. He selects Pair with Observer and gives that code to Amy. She can now see Tucker's classes and grades on the app's home screen. Jane is still in elementary school, so Amy gets her pairing code from Jane's teacher and easily adds it on the app. Now Jane is all set up with the Canvas Parent app as her sidekick in supporting her kids' education. To make sure she stays up to date on both kids' accounts, Jane sets up her alerts and notifications. On her phone or tablet, Amy selects Manage Students and then selects Tucker. She sets her preferences on when and about what she would like Canvas to alert her. She does the same for Jane. As Amy finishes choosing her notification settings, Jane comes bounding into the house without the coat she was wearing when she left for school. On the app, Amy opens her inbox, selects Jane's class, and sends a quick message to Jane's teacher about the missing coat. That night, before sitting down to dinner, Amy checks Tucker's classes and grades. He's doing pretty well. She also checks the calendar and notices that Tucker has a test coming up in a few days, and then helps Tucker organize his notes and create a study plan after dinner. She notices in her alerts section an announcement about a field trip to the local museum for Tucker's world history class, and a request for volunteer parent chaperones. Amy sends a quick message through the Canvas inbox to volunteer as a chaperone. Amy glances at the calendar and notices that Jane has a science project coming up. She looks at the assignment and notices a list of supplies and instructions for how to submit the assignment. Amy sets a reminder to buy the supplies. That night, Jane sits at the computer with Amy and they make a plan for Jane's project. Later that week, Amy helps Jane finish the project and helps her submit before the due date. After a long week of extracurricular activities, Amy sees a notification on her Canvas parent app about a missing assignment in one of Tucker's classes. She reads the instructions posted on Canvas and asks Tucker how she can help him complete the assignment. That night, Amy sits with Tucker and helps him upload a picture to submit his assignment. Even though the assignment is still flagged as late and Tucker lost some points, it's still turned in for grading. Like Amy Peterson, you can also support your students' learning and know what's going on in their academic lives. You can download it for free in your App Store. You can also log on to Canvas as an observer through your web browser. Also, check out the Canvas guides for observers in the Canvas community.
All right, that was a little video to get you started on what we're going to be talking about tonight and give you a little overview. Again, my name is Chris McGee. I am a member of the learning team in the Afton School District, and you got a little introduction to the rest of us that are here on the call tonight and willing to help out and give a little guidance. Sounds good. Erica, overview for tonight. Give us a little roadmap.
Sure. So this is really just a quick guide and walkthrough of what parents should know about Canvas and how it can help you connect with your students' learning. I'll toss it right back over to you to help us get started.
Perfect. So the first question is, of course, why are we using Canvas? Well, one of the things that we heard loud and clear back in the spring was there was a number of different resources and parents felt that they needed to check and have accounts and log into a number of different services in order to try and streamline that communication. We looked far and wide for a solution that would streamline all of the communication into one app, one opportunity for students to log in, and really try and have really a one-stop shop, if you will. We gathered a learning team that looked at all different learning management systems. We investigated a total of 3 based on a set of criteria, and then eventually settled on Canvas being the tool that best meet our needs. And we had a long process of evaluating that took us a couple months to find out which one we wanted. And then we started to support teachers. Towards the end of the year, teachers got their login into Canvas and started learning what it is, how to navigate it, how it can help and change the way that they are navigating learning in their classroom. Over the summer, we brought on some lead teachers that we called Canvassadors. And then our learning team really did the best we could to support them and making sure that they were a resource in each of our buildings. And those Canvassadors just were plugged in throughout the entire summer. They recognized that they had a ton of questions, that they wanted to know how something would work and how they could make it do the thing that they wanted to make it do. And then we supported them. And they even challenged us to come up with some new and different and creative ways to support students. Then in August, we began the integration with our student information system we'll talk about here in a couple minutes. And then did a bunch of professional learning for our teachers, so that way when the first day of school came around, they had the resources they needed to deploy learning in the best possible manner. Needless to say, this was a long road, and it wasn't a short process, but it definitely provided an opportunity to meet our needs as we move on. So the Canvas Learning Management System is a way basically to simplify some of the processes and connecting all the tools into one location. Canvas does a really great job of integrating with a number of different services that are out there that all of our teachers use on a regular basis. The best way to think about Canvas is to think about it as kind of like a binder. A learning management system is that. We put things in our binder just like a sheet of paper, an assignment, an activity, a resource, our pens and pencils, all the things that were in my 90s Trapper Keeper back in the day. That thing is a living and ongoing process. So we are constantly adding stuff to our binder and we're taking stuff away. You're also going to hear things about what's called a Student Information System, or SIS for short. We call it Tyler in the Afton School District. So Tyler is a different tool for us. It's a different resource, and we use it for record keeping, like attendance and lunch and forms, and really having all that contact information. It really gives us a bigger picture, and it may include some of the assignments that are not necessarily in Canvas. So I like to think about it as, you know, a profile, if you will. So I did a little screenshot there of like your Facebook profile. It gives you a profile of your family or of your student. And then you've got Canvas, which is that binder that moves along with your student throughout the year. We're going to transition now to a dashboard overview, and I'm going to hand it to our Director of Academic Options, Lauren Widmer.
All right, so when you first log into Canvas, whether you're logging in as a student or as a parent observer, the first thing that you're going to see is the dashboard. And up at the top, the first thing that you'll see are global announcements. So anything that pertains to your student or the student in the building, those are the daily announcements that come out. They'd normally be over the intercom in an actual building setting, but this is a way to just make sure that every student and parent in the building is on the same page on a daily basis. The next thing that I want to draw your attention to on the screen is the where it says published courses. So these are the individual courses that students engage with on a daily basis. As a parent, if you have an observer account, you'll see all of the courses that every kid in your family is enrolled in, but for individual students, they just see their own schedule. So a couple of things. On every course, it's called a course card, there's a unique image that helps students navigate to where they need to be at each part of the day. The name that is underneath the image is what the course actually is. And in the upper right-hand corner of each of those course cards, there's 3 little dots. And this is a really great way to help you kind of customize the experience for you. So if you're really visually oriented, your students can customize the color of that. They can give the course a nickname to help them better navigate. It's a really great way for you to really personalize the learning experience for your students and for your family. Over on the right-hand side of the screen, there is a to-do list section. And that is a breakdown of everything that a student needs to submit as an assignment during the day. So again, these are only the graded assignments, the quizzes. These are the items that would traditionally show up in the student or parent portal. I just want to point out, it is not an exhaustive list, so it does not include every single learning activity that your student has. That's just those big ticket items that need to be submitted for a grade. Once you click into an actual so one more way to customize your dashboard, depending on whether you do better seeing all of your courses laid out in one spot and accessing that to-do list over on the right-hand side, or whether you'd prefer to customize your screen so that you can see your whole view as a to-do list. In the upper right-hand corner of your screen, on the dashboard, there's those 3 dots again. Those are those customized dots. You can go from card view, that's the image on the left you see right now, and on the right-hand side, that's list view. So this list view integrates that to-do list and just shows for a student everything that they need to do each individual day of the week. Again, you can go back and forth, whatever way works to personalize the learning experience best for your family. Regardless of which way you have it set up, once you click into a class, you will see some pretty common features regardless of what the class is and what grade level your student is working at. So on the left-hand side, in that yellow navigation bar, this is the global navigation bar. That's always going to be there. It doesn't matter if you're on your dashboard, whether you're in a student account or a parent account, regardless of the class, that's always going to be there. And that's a great place where you can check your universal calendar. If you need help from Canvas, down at the bottom, there's that question mark. You can access the 24-hour helpline or chat. It's a really great feature. The next feature I want to draw your attention to is the course navigation highlighted in yellow. That might be unique per class. We've given teachers the ability to display or hide different features or functions within each class, depending on the grade level of students and which features they're going to need. So if you see one student's class with 10 features there and another student's class with only 3, that's on purpose. That is just to make sure that the experience is as streamlined as possible for you and your students. And then on the far right-hand side of the screen, highlighted in green, those are the additional course tools that are available for courses. So again, these might vary per class, but again, that's where you can access the universal calendar for the class, and really click in to see what are going to be those best organizational tools for your students and you as a family to use. All right, so our district, in responding to all of the feedback that we got about why we should move to a single LMS, it was really about having a consistent experience for families, regardless of the grade level or content area, so that families could really best support their students at home. And so what we decided to do was kind of come up with a series of templates that could be used to really streamline that experience. So not only does it streamline the experience for you as a parent, so that you know approximately where you need to look for your 2nd grader or for your 10th grader, it also really helps us as a district streamline our support for teachers. So if a teacher contacts us for help, we know that when they say that they're in their learning page, we know exactly where to go and we're not hunting around. So it's really an efficiency measure for both students and parents and teachers as well. So what do these templates look like? So we had a universal template that we were going to roll out to all teachers grades K through 12. And the feedback that we got was that that was a really great idea and that would be really helpful for parents. But the user features for a kindergartner were going to need to be different than the user features for a 12th grader, just because of skill set and what would be visually engaging for them. So we engaged in a lot of collaborative discussions with each building level and came up with 3 different templates that would work best to support the learning for our different aged students. So what you can see is in each course, the top of the home page is going to be approximately the same. And then these are the buttons that are at the bottom of each page. So again, there's some common features, the learn button, the parent button, the help button, those are all pretty common. The 2 that are consistent regardless of the grade level, and these are the most important buttons. Those are the learn button and the parent button. So for you as a parent, we wanted to make sure that it was easy for you to find any information that you might need about Canvas. So you didn't have to sort through your email, you didn't have to look for the right page on the district website. It didn't matter what class your student was in. All you had to do was click on the parent button and every support resource that you would need for Canvas would be right there. So you could help your student right when they needed it. The other important button, this is the most important one for students, is that learn button. It looks a little different for each building level because of the way that our different administrators and teachers thought that it would work to structure the learning experiences for students. But this is where your students click to get started on their day. Depending on what grade level they're in, what happens next is going to look a little bit different. So the next 3 slides that Erica's going to take us through, these are a breakdown. They're called wireframes, and it's really just a visual map of what does that learning experience look like for students at each grade level. So when they click on the Learn button at main year, it's going to take them to a home page that has every content area for the whole day laid out. When they click on that Learn button at the high school, it's going to probably take them to a modules page. Again, those were based on a lot of collaborative discussions and just finding what was going to be the best, most user-friendly experience for students with different skills at different grade levels. All right, so that's kind of the student experience. I am going to hand it back over to Dr. McGee now, and he's going to talk a little bit about what it looks like as a parent, as an observer.
Mute myself and jump on in. So, viewing as an observer. The easiest way to do this is, of course, logging on to our Afton at-home learning page and following the 3 steps that are listed there. The first thing you need to do as a parent is sign up for a Canvas account. Of course, there's no way that we can't do this without adding yet another account. But it is a process that we see as pretty standard. So it needs to know who you are. and protects both your student information and your information. So having an account was essential. Second, we need to create that link. So as we saw in the video when we kicked off this event, your student has a button that says view as or link an observer. And when you click that, you get a unique code that connects your Canvas account to their Canvas account. So that process there links those two things. And then finally, if you are interested, you certainly don't have to, but if you are interested, you could download on your smartphone a Parent Observer app. So it's called the Canvas Parent app, both available on Android and iOS. It is not required. You can simply navigate to the Canvas website through your phone's web browser or your computer's web browser. It really is available pretty much anywhere there is internet access. So the Canvas Parent app is not required, but it is available for you. So let's talk a little bit about what that looks like when you look in. So when you peek into a parent account, whether you're online on a computer or whether you're on a mobile device. Here I just used screenshots from a mobile device. If you were to look at the Canvas Observer account through a traditional computer or laptop, you will look exactly like a student. It will have all the cards just like we showed. It will have all the assignments and the calendars. It basically mimics the exact process that a student has. The parent app is a little different. It organizes things a little different, and it does create a little bit of confusion because when you get used to navigating things on a website, using the app and the app experience is a little bit different. So you are able on the parent app to manage both your students or more, however many students you have. You can add or remove students. You can set up your notifications the way that you want them. You can tap into a class and see what's going on to see grades and assignments. And then, of course, you can come back out to a home page. Something else that's available through that Observer account is a calendar and a to-do list. So I'm going to show you quickly what it looks like on the desktop version or on a laptop version of a class. So if you were an observer, and let's say you had two different students that are enrolled in Afton, when you click on the calendar icon on the left side of your screen, what you'll see here is you'll see every assignment or every to-do list that a teacher has assigned your students. And you'll notice that each of the different colors correlate to a different course that a student is enrolled in. So you can see here that you've got pink, blue, and purple available for you there on the calendar. And you can see that some of them have been turned in. There's a line through them, and some of them are still awaiting some attention from the student. And then over on the right side of the screen with the number 1 over it, you can click and highlight, show, and remove different courses in different calendars. Okay, so the number 2 shows that there's an assignment that has been turned in, and you can see that it has been crossed out. And then on the, like I said, the number 1 will show you all the different courses that your child or children are enrolled in. So that calendar feature does allow you to navigate and know what's going on to support your students. I'm going to hand it over now to our coordinator of learning services, Manuel Herrera, to talk a little bit about checking grades.
Yeah, we're going to talk about checking grades. Not much is going to be changing at the start of the school year. We're going to, as parents, you're still going to be checking your students' grades from Tyler. That is where your students will have their official grades as of right now. They will have assignments in Canvas. Those grades will kind of be in flux, whether because of missing assignments or something is late or students are still working on something. Eventually, we're going to be able to, as Dr. McGee had said, be able to merge these two platforms and have them speak to each other so that all of the grades will then, assignments and grades will show up in Tyler. We're still kind of in the process of making those two platforms sync. But for now, for official grades, you still want to go look at Tyler to see where your students stand. You can go into Canvas where you will see some of their assignments and some of those grades. But those will change as students either make up work, turn in assignments, or make some type of adjustment. So on the student end, students can check their grades, or if you as a parent, if you're looking over your shoulder for your child, can also check the grades directly from Canvas. Again, remember these grades will kind of be in flux because we have yet to sync. We're still working on syncing the two platforms. But from a student account, as Ms. Woodmer had said earlier, from the dashboard, this is where you'll look for, on the far right-hand corner, you're gonna look for View Grades button. When you click that View Grades button in the student dashboard, you're going to see a screen that will come up that will show courses I'm taking. You should see your child's name across the top, and you'll see all of their classes and where they stand in those classes. Again, just going to keep emphasizing that those grades will kind of change as students turn things in, but this will allow you to kind of take a peek in to see what students are really missing in those courses. As a parent, as you log into the platform, it's going to look very similar to your child. You're also going to have a dashboard as well. You can see here, this is a different slide, but it does look very similar to your child's. On the right-hand side of the dashboard, you're going to see a button that says View Grades. You're going to click it just like you would in your child's. But the difference in this one is if you have multiple children, they will all appear in the image on the right. So you can see there are several courses. To the right-hand side, you have world history, you have English, you have band. Some of those are high school, some of those are middle school, some of those are elementary. That's going to be all of your all of your children listed in one screen. So you'll be able to click on those and see what their grades are and where they stand in those courses. So keep in mind, you'll see a lot more if you have multiple children. It's just because you're going to see them all at the same time. It's kind of a nice feature in Canvas where I can go to one place and be able to see all of my children's grades at one time. The next piece is notifications. Notifications are kind of important for you as a parent if you want to kind of keep up with what's going on in your classrooms. But this is up to you as well, how you receive those notifications. You want to personalize them for you, and you want to do what's kind of best for your family, especially if you have multiple children. You want to set notifications up in a way that will be, I guess, won't interrupt your day throughout the day. Won't interrupt your day as much if you only have one student. But from your dashboard as a parent, as you log in, you're going to click your account, which is in the upper left-hand corner. You should see a silhouette, or if you've changed that, you'll see an image, a profile picture that you might have set. You'll click that. Once you've clicked that, a menu will slide out. You'll see notifications at the top, and you're going to click on notifications. Once you click notifications, it's going to take you to a screen, which is the second image on the right-hand side. You have quite a lengthy list of notifications that you can receive. You're going to want to take some time to kind of go through that and see what you can adjust. Canvas has set those to be some popular options for parents, but I would definitely go through, see what's going to work for you and your family. Notifications can come through email. Notifications can come through your cell phone. You can even receive them through, I believe, social media accounts. Making sure, yeah. So if you want to take some time to go through that, again, they're defaulted for things that Canvas has suggested for parents, but even then you still want to go and look through those. There are also notifications in the parent app. So same kind of thing. You want to go through your settings and look through your notifications there to see what's available to you in the parent app.
All right, let's hand it on over to our Director of Technology, which is Adam Jasinski. Talk a little bit about troubleshooting.
No problem. Good evening, everybody. So one of the things that we hear a lot is people have trouble getting into the app. So if you haven't filled out the request yet for support, be sure you do that. Erica has posted that in the chat a couple times. But one thing that should always work is logging in through a web browser, which you can do on your phone. So you can see here the link for the students and then the link for the parents. So any web browser you're on, either if that's a phone or a computer or an iPad, you should be able to log in via that link once you have your account set up. If you need support, you can go to the Afton Schools website, and then under Parent Resources, we have the link that Dr. McGee shared earlier with the video on setting up your Canvas account and some more help articles to help you out. If you still can't get it, there is an option to submit a request for further technology support. Just fill that out and we will get in contact with you and get you going. So here's a few things you can do if Canvas isn't working for you or your student. The number one thing we always tell people is restart the device. That fixes lots of things. Next would be close out your tabs, go to clever.com as your student, and then click the Canvas icon to get them back in. And then kind of the last thing that we would have you try is clear the cache, which clears your browsing data. If you're having that problem, we would send you specific instructions on how to do that. So if it still isn't working, if it's a tech-related problem, you know, there's a key not working, the camera won't turn on, your student can't be heard in a Google Meet, those kinds of things, then you would complete the help form, which is again under parent resources on the website. If you are unsure of how to do something in Canvas, then there are Canvas guides on the at-home learning site, again on the Afton website. And if it's a course or grade specific question, you want to reach out to that specific teacher to answer that. So here's some more at-home learning page resources. So for help with Canvas, they have a 24/7 helpline. For your student Chromebook, again, there's a link under parent resources on the Afton Schools webpage. And on that same link on the parent resources, if you don't have internet service for your home, there's an option there that you can request a hotspot. And this is just a screenshot of the Chromebook help screen. We have a few simple things you can do to fix the most common problems with a link to the support form at the bottom. And this is what the help desk ticket looks like. To better serve you, be as detailed as possible for your problem. And if you can include screenshots, that would help us kind of pinpoint issues as well. And if you have any questions and answers, you can throw them down in the chat or fill out the form that Erica has posted.
All right, is that the program tonight? Are we ready for some questions? Okay, so tonight we have questions that I'm not sure if we'll know the answers to, but I am happy to throw them out there. Let's see if we can get some answers. And if we don't know the answer, we will find out. Someone has said their password has never worked. Do they need to create a new password? It does not say if it's on the computer or on the app.
So if the password hasn't worked on that Canvas link, if there is a request password reset, follow that option. And if you don't get the email for some reason, reach out to us and we can reset that for you.
Thank you. We have a question from someone about getting a constant invalid pairing code. They have an account set up online, but in the app or on a different device, the pairing code is invalid.
So pairing codes are unique. They do only work one time. So if you have multiple parents trying to set up access, they need to generate a new pairing code each time. You don't have to set up a new account on each device. So once you have your account set up and paired with your student, you're good to go. Then you just log in and observe your student that way.
It's also important to note that those pairing codes are time sensitive. So if a student created a pairing code yesterday, that code may not work. I believe the recommendation is that you use that pairing code within 20 minutes just to make sure that student confidentiality, that linking is happening intentionally right when you want it to, that the code isn't just an indefinite piece that anybody could use later on.
Thank you. All right, let's see. How about on the calendar on Canvas, it doesn't always cross off completed assignments right away. Sometimes you have to wait for teacher feedback. Do we know a reason why that would be?
No, don't know a reason, but I have seen that same scenario happen. So that is a one that we're aware of, but I have not seen that. Lauren, have you seen that in your experience?
I have not seen that. What I was going to suggest, though, that if a student wanted to confirm that they had turned something in or not, that if you click on an individual course and then on that left-hand navigation, click on grades, you'll be taken to your individual gradebook for that course, and anything that you have missing should have an indicator next to it that says missing. So that's just another way to double check whether it was submitted or not.
Thank you. I think this was in the video introduction, and it mentioned a pairing code for an elementary student coming from their teacher. I'm not sure that's 100% correct for our district. Do parents need a pairing code from the teacher, or can they get that from their student's account?
Yeah, they need to get that from the student's account. Teachers can generate pairing codes, but it only lets you pair with that one specific course. So if you have your student generate the code, then you have one code for everything. And if they go to the Parent Resources tab in At-Home Learning Plan, there is the video walking them through how to generate that code from the student's account.
Thank you. When logging into Canvas from a different device, it asks them to log into Clever, which I think is the purple login screen we usually see. Can you help clarify the difference between Canvas and Clever and what someone would need to do?
So Clever is how the students log in. Clever is kind of how we make magic happen behind the scenes, where students don't have an individual Canvas login they have to remember. It just opens on their device, they click the Canvas button, and there's a transparent login process that happens in the background. One thing that we are working with Canvas to resolve is when you get the notification emails and you click that link, it defaults you to Clever. Right now, I don't have a fix for that. I'm waiting on Canvas to tell us how we can remedy that issue. For whatever reason, that's the default they send out. So that's something they have to change on their end. I think that's where most people see that Clever login, is when they get the email notifications and click the link. That Clever login pops up. But if you're getting that on the parent app, you need to be sure that you are using the Canvas parent app. There are multiple Canvas apps, so be sure it is the Canvas parent app. And when you're searching for your school, you want to search for Afton Schools, not Gotch, not Mainier, not the high school. You want to search Afton Schools and be sure you pick Afton Schools parents, because there is a difference. So if you download the parent app and use Afton Schools parents, you should be able to log in without seeing Clever.
Thank you. I did also drop the link for Afton's Canvas page into the chat. Also from our website, there's a direct link under Parent Resources and in the quick links of every school and the district website, just so folks know. We have a question about, can a student use a personal computer instead of a Chromebook? Are there any issues with that?
Yeah, they absolutely can. To get them going, just have them go to clever.com and they want to sign in with their Afton email address and password. Then it's pretty much the exact same experience they would have on a Chromebook. The only caveat to that is if they are doing any kind of testing, it may not work on a personal device. They may have to use the Chromebook.
Yeah, and I'll jump in and yes and that and just say also benefit of using the Chrome browser. And there is an opportunity potentially on your personal device to log into the Chrome browser using your Afton Schools account. It just gives another layer of verification and support that would keep that experience to be a really positive experience, similar to if you were using a district issued Chromebook.
I'm going to yes and that and say be sure that if it is a device you use as a parent, the student signs out of Chrome when they're done. Otherwise, you will get our school's web filter. So you'll be blocked from all sorts of web pages that, as a parent, you may want to access. So when they're done, be sure they log out of Chrome.
Thank you. Looking through questions tonight, we have several that are specific to one person. So I want to make sure you fill out the form for those this evening, because I think it might be a few more technical steps than we can address live. How about if someone is signed in as an observer on the computer or the Chromebook, their email and password in the app is not recognized. I think we might have touched on this, but Adam, can you say one more time what you need to do for the app?
Yeah, again, be sure you are using the Canvas Parent app. Go to your app store and search Canvas Parent app. It's not the normal Canvas app. So you'll see 3 different Canvas apps if you just search Canvas. Canvas, which is for students, Canvas Student, which is also for students, and then Canvas Parent. That's the one that you should be using to log in. And then when you pull it up, there is an option to log in as a parent. You select your school, and you want to pick Afton School's parents. And then you should be able to log in with your email and password.
So also just a conversation, Erica, I might throw this one back to you based on a conversation that we had about setting up the parent app on the phone after you've already set it up on the computer, that if parents are struggling to get logged into the app on their phone, I understand that they might be able to use a QR code that's generated from the computer.
Yes, so I'm speaking from my own experience as a parent. If you go to our website under Parent Resources in the at-home learning plan, there is a video there that Adam did that's a step-by-step how to create your parent account and the pairing code, and then also how you can get a QR code. So if you are on a device, a laptop or a Chromebook, and you're in your parent account, if you go under your settings, there is one that says a QR code to log into the app. And that's how I was successful with the Canvas Parent app. When you first log in, I think there's a button at the bottom that says I want to log in with a QR code, and I just scanned my laptop screen and it worked. So hopefully that can help you out too.
I want to touch quickly on a comment that Adam made that I think is important to recognize, is that there are about 1 million different ways to get to Canvas, whether you're a student or a parent. And I just want to emphasize the importance of using a web browser. Canvas does have apps for parents and apps for students, and those are great in a mobile scenario. If you're on your phone or maybe on a tablet. But to really get full functionality of the tool the way that it is designed, we really do want to encourage students and parents to use a web browser. And of course, Chrome is the one that we prefer if you were able to download and install that.
Great. Let's do one final question. So again, if we didn't get to your specific question tonight, please share it in the form, or if you need help creating a parent account, complete that form as well. We'll get to that tomorrow. There have been probably one of the hot topics for both parents and students is confusion between how teachers, this is more at secondary than elementary, but how they enter assignments or Google Meet links or things differently. So it's a little hard to navigate and find. Not everything shows up on the calendar. You might have to go to modules, or sometimes it's in the syllabus, or I think some of that's getting cleaned up. But Lauren, I think you might be working on some things with staff that can help.
Yeah, absolutely. So as is the case with any new educational tool, the conversations are ongoing because we are developing our best practices as we are living them. So one of the things that we did early on is that we wanted to give teachers some flexibility in how they structured their learning experiences, because our teachers are the people that spend the time with our students and really know what they need to be successful. And so what our teachers have been doing is they've been putting various assignments in their courses, and sometimes to give students extra flexibility because of asynchronous learning, not everything has a due date. They just discuss it on their learning page or in a class meeting, and then that's creating some confusion for students because they don't have a hard deadline on their calendar. So again, starting off with giving that flexibility for students and families to be able to engage when they can. We're now learning that that's actually creating extra confusion because there aren't those hard deadlines on the calendar. So we've been having discussions with building principals and trying to restructure that in a way that works to maintain that needed flexibility for our families, while also giving them that really needed visual structure to make sure that nobody's falling behind. So you should definitely be expecting some updates on Canvas and how those assignments and due dates are rolled out in the very near future.
Great, thank you very much. And I think that's going to conclude our question and answer session for the evening. One final thing, you guys are all here already, but one question we usually get after a webinar is when can we find the recording? So we'll be downloading that tonight, getting it captioned, and we'll share it later this week as soon as it's ready. Dr. Brock, I'm gonna hand it to you.
Yeah, thanks for everyone that tuned in. Looks like we got up to about 92 folks that were with us tonight. So kudos to them for checking this out, and thanks to our panelists for being available. And like I said, here to help you guys out. I know you're supporting your kids in ways that you never thought possible. And so that support does not go unnoticed. And certainly these team members are here to help. So look forward to continue working with you. And thanks for tuning in tonight. See you later.
Thank you.